I'm Ellen with blackfilm.com, and with me today is South African writer, director Phumi Morare, recipient of this year's Academy Gold Student Academy Awards. Hi, Phumi, and congratulations.
Hi, Ellen. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, what a huge feat that your short narrative film, When the Sun Sets, was selected as one of the winning films. That is such a big deal. How are you feeling? Are you still in disbelief?
Yeah, it's been such a surreal moment. I am in disbelief. I feel so excited and so honored, and just trying to wrap my mind around it, really.
I can imagine. And is this something, how did you find out about it? Was this via Zoom call or phone call? How did that all come together?
Yeah, it was really funny because I was kind of tricked into believing that I'm just doing an interview. And then when I get to the interview, I saw that there was a surprise guest, or they announced that there was a surprise guest, and it was Marielle Heller. And
Wow.
she's one of the filmmakers that I admire, so I was really confused why she was there. And then she told me that she was there to announce that I'd won the Student Academy Gold Award, and I was absolutely blown away. Yeah.
Wow. I can't even imagine just having her on there. Yeah, that was just a whole other level of excitement. So can you share a bit about the premise of the film? I haven't had the pleasure of watching it yet, but I'm looking forward to do so. But I want to hear from your words what the film is about.
Yeah, so the film is about a nurse in 1980s South Africa who looks after her younger brother and sister. And she realizes that the brother may be in danger one day because he's gone missing and hasn't returned from school, and she has to figure out what to do about it. And she's quite young, and also as a Black woman during that time, doesn't have as much power, but she has to sort of navigate that kind of oppressed environment.
Oh wow. Okay. Sounds good already. And can you talk a bit about what went into making this film in terms of, was it shot in South Africa, and how did all the cast and the crew all come together?
Yeah, it was shot in South Africa. I forgot to mention it's inspired by something that happened to my mom and her brother in the
Oh wow.
80s.
Okay.
Yeah, and the way that it all came together was my producer and I think we did about a year of fundraising because in order for us to shoot in South Africa, we needed to have, I guess, like a lot more budget than the school grants we got. So we did crowdfunding, we pitched to a lot of people. We did some trips to South Africa where we gathered resources and did more pitching, and networked a lot. And we ended up getting some help from the local film school.
Mm.
It's called AFTA in Johannesburg. And they were really amazing because they treated us like we were their students, and they gave us an equipment package, which was really kind. And so that helped a lot with our budget. And then we cast everyone locally, and we used some of the students from After Film School, the local school,
Mm.
as well as some kind of junior professional crew locally. Yeah.
And how long did it take to make the film?
It was about 7.5 days of shoot.
Oh wow. Okay. And so I love that it's inspired by a true story, and it's based on your explanation. It also sounds like it's a true labor of love, which kind of feeds back into the inspiration of the story. It's your mom. So how long ago did you hear about the story, or rather, did you know that you wanted to make this story?
Um, so I think my mom told me this story about 7 years ago for the very first time.
Mhm.
And I was really shocked because, firstly, I couldn't believe that a heroic story like hers went sort of like nobody in my family really spoke about it, or me and my sisters didn't really know about it. And also, I was surprised by how nonchalant she was when
Mm.
she recounted the story, almost as if it was inconsequential. And and after like mulling over it, I said to her, you know, that story shows that you were a hero. And she said to me, I wasn't a hero. I was just doing what had to be done. I was protecting my brother. And I was really moved by that because it made me think about the many African mothers who are overcoming insurmountable odds and doing these heroic things that go unnoticed. And sort of the moment passes and nobody knows that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was really curious about that. And so I think I was telling a friend about it when I started film school, and she said, "Why don't you make a film about it?" And so that's when it kind of started in my first or second year of film school, mulling over how could I tell my mother's story in a film. Yeah.
Well, thank goodness for daughters, I tell you, because I can relate to that to some degree in the sense of I'm from Kenya, and so I talk to my mom all the time about her childhood and some of the things that she went through, and I always say to myself, like, wow, that could be a film, that could be, something that's shared with the world, that it's a teachable moment. So I appreciate you taking those steps to bringing her story to life. And so, what does your mother think about the film? What did she have to say about it?
Yeah, so she when she watched it, there were two things she said that stood out to me.
Yeah.
The first one was that so I don't know how to talk about it without spoiling it, but there's basically a confrontation in the film where she has to confront the police. I have to say it in order to explain this, but
Sure.
so she said that when she watched that moment in the film, it dawned on her for the first time the danger that she had put herself in to protect her
Wow.
brother. And she hadn't fully absorbed it in the moment. And I think, when the moment passed, she kind of put it at the back of her mind. And so it was the first time she fully realized the thing that could have happened to her. And especially because the film dramatizes what actually happened, and it goes into the realm of exploring what could have happened.
Right.
So yeah, and my uncle said the same thing. He said that he didn't fully realize what his sister had done for him, and how he owes his life to her.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was that
That's
was a
huge.
great moment. Yeah, that was a great moment for our family actually, because we had a private screening with our family and close friends, and it was just a moment of reflection for our family, which was really special. And just seeing my uncle responding that way was really special. And then the both of them said that they were surprised that I didn't live through that time, but it felt like that time. So I was
Mhm.
very grateful to all the research that I had done.
That's right. Oh, wow. That's so incredibly special. And so, what did you learn while making this film? Not only about you as a writer and a director, but really about the history of your family, and how did that sort of resonate with you?
Yeah, I think what I learned is that sometimes as the younger generation, we don't fully appreciate everything that our parents
Mm.
did to kind of pave the way for where we are today. And one of the things I did with my mom when I was in development of the script is when I was interviewing her, she got inspired to take me on an excursion of the place where the events happened. And through that process, she opened up about other things that had happened during that time to herself, to her friends.
Mm.
And I realized that my parents' generation in South Africa, they actually have been quite quiet about that time. And this seems to be consistent across, when I ask my friends about if they've heard their parents' stories, they say their parents have also been quiet because perhaps they're trying to protect us and they want us to sort of move forward. So it was a good moment to take a step back and think of everything that they've done to get us to where we are today. And the cool thing is when the film premiered in South Africa in the festival, it was like an online, a virtual festival. South Africans would send me messages on Instagram and tell me how it was helping them talk to their aunts and uncles and parents, and that was something I didn't anticipate, which was really special.
And that's the beauty of the filmmaking and being at the helm of bringing these sort of films to the forefront. It affects so many more people than you could possibly imagine. And it's when you think about that time, apartheid, and I get why parents don't want to talk. It's a difficult time. It was a very difficult time, traumatic time. But it's also a time that we, as the younger generation, need to learn about, need to know, to your point, to, look at our parents from a different perspective, not just as parents, but they were, human beings before we stepped on the scene. And so it would behoove us to honor that. And that's what you do in this film. And that's incredible. One last question for you. What were some of the challenges? Because I imagine they exist in filmmaking that you faced while shooting this.
Oh, so many. Where can I start? I mean, I think one of the main challenges was the fact that our school was based in California and we were trying to shoot a film in Johannesburg. That was very difficult, having to kind of plan from afar. And sort of, we were in a way starting, because although I'm from South Africa, I haven't been really active in the film industry a lot there. So I had to sort of start from like a very fresh space in terms of building those networks. So yeah, it was very difficult from that perspective, and that's why it took a while to plan. And then some of the other challenges were, so when we were shooting, the pandemic was looming.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and we were a few weeks behind the US, I think, and we were hearing of productions shutting down. And people were panicking in the US, and we were hearing like about the toilet paper crisis, and we're trying to shoot our film. So it was weird feeling like we're shooting as the world is ending. And it did make people feel on edge as well. But luckily, because we were a few weeks behind, we managed to finish. And I think we finished on a Friday, and the country shut down on a Wednesday. Following, yeah. And so my team that was based in California actually struggled to get out of the country.
Sure.
And eventually one of us made it out. And I was stuck at home for a few months, and that meant that I had to edit across a 9-hour time difference over Zoom with my editor. And because we were students, we didn't have the sophisticated software to do virtual editing. So that was very challenging, as well as trying to do sound design through a virtual platform. That was hard. And my sound designer, I need to give her credit, because usually when we do Foley, which is creating all the sound effects, we do it in a stage, and she did it all at home, which is just incredible that she did that. Yeah, and then there were small things, well, not small, but production things like there was a time when we thought we'd gotten all of the permission to shoot in a certain location, but then when we got to the location, we learned that there was an informal community leader that nobody told us about, no matter how much asking around we did. And the one day there was actually a mob that came.
What?
Yeah, because we hadn't gotten the informal community leader's consent. And so that was a lot of negotiation, and managing that situation was stressful. But we managed to get through it, and negotiate that like we'd use some of the people in the mob as like our background cast and things like that. Yeah.
But you made it happen. Despite all those obstacles, you made it happen. This was meant to be. And I lied. I have one more question, and then I'm going to let you go. I loved reading about your interest in using the Black female gaze to tell personal human stories of everyday Africans. What is your point of view on the Black female gaze, and why does it matter to you so?
Yeah, I think Black women, because of the sort of multiple angles of oppression we've experienced.
Yes.
I think we have one of the most empathetic
Mm,
lenses. I think we have a way of just seeing different kinds of people from different situations and circumstances, and having compassion and empathy. And that compassionate lens is just so important in helping authenticity come out in stories. And so I think that's what is unique about the Black female gaze.
I agree 1,000%. I wanted to hear it in your own words. And so where can folks watch the short film? Where can we find you on social media? How can we continue to support you?
So at the moment, the short film is still in the festival circuit, and we're hoping to get distribution. We're actually a finalist in the HBO short film competition, so we're crossing our fingers.
Bravo.
We're crossing our fingers for that.
Yes.
Yeah, so if that works out, then that's where people could see the film next year.
Okay.
And then people can find me on Instagram. My handle is Phumi Morare, which is PhumiMorare.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations again. Looking forward to having conversations with you in the future on future projects. Because I feel like, with your perspective on the female gaze and your understanding of how important the female gaze is, you're going to be producing a lot of great content that I can't wait to watch and support. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ellen. It was such a pleasure.